Seven of the best came to play for the money. On 7 good ponies and some damn good swing. So get your team together, get fired up.
Hi everyone, welcome to the 8th Swan Cup video podcast. My name is Alex Wrobel from the Inverell Polocrosse Club, and we're going to endeavour to complete a podcast every week in the lead up to the 2021 Inverell Swan Cup. I'm the president of the Inverell Polocrosse Club, and we're going to use this podcast to provide you with information about the Swan Cup and meet the people behind the scenes who will help to make our event a success. The Swan Cup will run from the 8th to the 11th of July 2021, and our open men's polocrosse and sale nominations open on the 19th of April and close on the 10th of May 2021. I'm here with our club member and leader of our Swan Cup, Cameron Neville. How are you going, Cameron?
I'm great, mate. Thank you.
And our special guest this week is Les Fraser from the Warwick Polocrosse Club. Thanks for joining us, Les. How are you going?
Yeah, good. Thank you, Alex. And good evening to you and to Cameron.
G'day, mate.
So, first of all, Les, thanks for coming on board and doing a podcast with us for the Swan Cup. Your name, for me growing up, your name goes hand in hand with the Warwick Polocrosse Club and the long list of fantastic and amazing events that you've held there over a number of years. My first question is for you, just how have you maintained such a strength in your club and your members over so many years to run all of those events?
Oh, well, Alex, we've got a good team here. We have had for a long time, and we've specialised in running major events. As you know, we run the 03 Cup, the 07 Cup in 2019, and I suppose I'm just fortunate to have a great team of people around us here in Warwick. I'm very fortunate that my wife and family are involved in the game as well. And the support from them has been fantastic. And but Alex, you certainly cannot organise big events without a good team. And we've had a great team around us here in Warwick for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. And from the beginning, since Cameron first, made contact with you and had conversations about the Swan Cup, back in late 2019, it was now. You've been a strong supporter of our event and been a good sounding board for Cameron. What do you like most about our Swan Cup idea?
Oh, Alex, the thing that excites me about this is that you people, first of all, you and Cameron and the Inverell Club have had the initiative to get together and take this on. It's a new event and it's never been tried before. And you've certainly had the initiative to put this together and take it on. The other thing that really excites me is that you people have been able to get involved a global company in Nutrien Equine. I think that's wonderful for the sport. I watched the Mike Barton podcast and no doubt we don't have to guess how good he is at what he does. And I think that's wonderful for the sport to think that he's interested enough to bring his company on board with you fellows to stage this event.
And with that, Les, what do you, we go inside with the Nutrien side of it, but then the Australian stock horse side of it, obviously a big part of the World Cup and Polocrosse in general. I think they well supported you at the World Cup and different things, but do you think the sport looks for a sale with the Australian stock horse brand on it, with the Polocrosse in the background?
Oh, there's no question about that, Cameron. I think the Australian stock horse has been one of the greatest things that's happened to the pleasure horse industry in Australia. And I don't show any horses or compete in any stock horse events, but I'm a platinum member of the Stock Horse Society. Every horse that I've got capable of being registered is registered. And one of my main reasons for doing that is that I think that the Stock Horse Society is the only vehicle we've got to keep a track of our breeding. And I think that's just so vitally important. That old saying about not all well-bred horses are good, but most good horses are well-bred. And I think that's just so important. And the Stock Horse Society have been great supporters of the World Cup. They're great supporters of the Barrastock Interstate Series. And I think they're an integral part of us keeping a track of our breeding on our polocrosse horses for futures to come.
Yeah, I agree totally. And Les, some of the numbers that you had through your World Cup up there, like a lot of people are interested to know, like amount of people and the size of your event and how long it went through and different things like that. No, I'm putting you on the spot a bit, but a lot of people are interested. Like, we're trying to run an event that goes for a few days and different things. Like, can you give us a bit of a background on any sort of numbers that happened through that week?
Well, we hosted 40,000 spectators over the week of the World Cup. Once again, the World Cup at Warwick was such a success simply because the game is so big in Australia. Like, there is not another country in the world plays the game as good as what the Australian players do. We've got the best players and we've got the best horses, and we put on the best display. And I thought the idea of running the World Cup in parallel with the Barrastock Interstate Series just showcased how good the sport is here in Australia. I'm a great advert to the fact that we invented the game here in Australia. Mrs. Hurst invented the game here in Australia, and I think there is no doubt in my mind that we play the best polocrosse in the world and we have the best horses. And the success of the World Cup was due to the quality of the players and the quality of the horses. No doubt we were lucky to have Morgan Park, because I think it's one of the best polocrosse playing facilities in the world. It's specifically built to play polocrosse on. When we designed it and built it, we made sure that it was built to play polocrosse on, and it does. We host 7 turf fields there and 2 practice fields, a kilometre trotting track, and undercover accommodation for 500 horses. And when you've got a complex like that and a good team like we've got here at Warwick, it's not hard to run major events. But the World Cup was just, it was bigger than I ever thought it could be, Cameron, and that's due mainly to the excitement and the way the game is played and the way we've been able to promote it.
Yeah, no, like, it was without hands down the best horse event that I've been to, camp drafting, cutting, and so ever. Like, to have the excitement that was there, that final that afternoon was just unbelievable.
Oh, fantastic.
But Les, we're a club, and we're starting off with a small base, and we're lucky enough to secure our grounds now. And we got ambitions one day and dreams of maybe having a facility like you got there yourself. Like, obviously Rome wasn't built in a day. Have you got any advice for a club like us where we should start and how we should move forward?
Oh, well, Cameron, I've always said to our members over the years that I've been president that every year you need to do a little bit for somebody, right? So one year you need to do a little bit for the competitors. The next year you need to do a little bit for the spectators, and maybe the next year you need to do a little bit for the sponsors. I'm a great believer in if you get the little things right, the big things will follow. I've always said that. But you need to develop an event and a facility so that when people drive out the gate on Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, they say, hell, that was good, I'm coming back here. And it's all about having a reasonable facility. We're never going to be a Suncorp Stadium, we know that, but we need to make sure that we've got decent facilities, good toilets, good food, seating arrangements, so that we can hold our share of the viewing market. We've got to keep our share of the viewing market to keep our sport alive. We cannot survive just on our players. We've got to have a viewing market. We've got to attract sponsors, and no doubt if we've got a reasonable setup and run a reasonable event, it will attract spectators, sponsors, and competitors, and they all like to come and play at good facilities.
Well, this year the Swan Cup held at the Inverell Showgrounds, and it's got quite good facilities. It's got enough stables and bars and canteens and different things like that, we can run a professional show and we can have a sale ring. We've only got the one field to run our competition on. Do you think that's a worry with having one field and you're running, 70 of the best horses across the country on one field? Have you got any thoughts on that?
Oh, Cameron, it depends on the depth of your competition. I don't think it is if you've got a good field. Our main field there at Warwick, can play over a weekend. Over a weekend, we play 3 rounds on the Friday night. We play 10 rounds on the Saturday, 3 rounds on the Saturday night, and another 10 rounds on the Sunday. So we can play close to 30 rounds of polocrosse on that one field. Provided your field's a good field and provided you've done a lot of put plenty of work into it, I don't think that's a problem. Obviously, we've got to have good fields. Our horses today are very expensive. They're well trained. They're well bred, and we need to make sure that we look after them the best possible way we can. And no doubt, good fields produce good polocrosse. So I don't think there's a problem with it. As I said to you, we play between 25 and 30 rounds of polocrosse on our main field at Warwick over the course of the Barrastock Interstate Series and the Shell Cup competition.
Mate, I think so too. I think having one field, it's a centre point. It's like having your grandstands are around it, your marquees are there, your bars there, your food's all there in one point, and getting back to that crowd and having the visual members there coming to watch and trying to attract new sponsors. I think having it in one place can actually be an asset for us. We like to think that we can pack it out and have a full showground full of people and full of horses, and it is a success. I sort of want to get away from that now. I want to ask you a bit more about the competition side of things with what we're trying to do, and capping points and having it opened up where it's not just a club side, it's mates and mates. You might have some players from Gyra, Walker, and Gallop and Gully all trying to put a team together, or Cunningham, Kalani and Warwick. What are your thoughts on mixing it up a little bit?
Cameron, I that's probably one thing that worries me a little bit. I've always been against individual people picking their own teams, and I still am against that a little bit, due to the fact that the fringe player can miss out. I thought one of the greatest example of fringe players was the State of Origin last year. All the players, except for probably 2 or 3 in the Queensland team, were fringe players. And had they not been given the opportunity to play there, they would have never probably ended up the superstars they were. And that worries me a little bit. I think under your circumstances, you have to cap the competition. I think that is a must, in so much as that you need to try and keep those teams equal. But I'm a great believer in the club being the foundation of our polocrosse. Over the last 50 or 60 years since the game has developed, the club has been the mainstay. The club polocrosse has been the mainstay of our improvement to where we are today. And I just have a little concern about the individual players picking their own teams. I don't know of another sport where we play where the individuals pick their own teams. But in saying that, this is a new concept. We've got a couple of concepts where individuals are putting their own teams together, and it's yet to be proven that it's not a success. I think up to date, you could not say it hasn't been. I think they've been a true success. But that idea worries me just a little bit, Cameron.
Yeah, no, I'm picking up what you're putting down. My argument, well, not argument with you, but the way that I would answer that question, Les, would be is that I know of a team that's coming to the Swan Cup that is probably made up of fellas that don't generally play A grade on a regular basis. They want to come and play with 6 or 7 of their mates. They want to come and they want to support the competition. They want to come and be a part of it and be part of something new and be part of it from the ground up. And I think, you know, we got our first carnival this weekend, and the club's picking their sides to go to different carnivals and different things each weekend. I think if we don't overdo it and we have a limited amount of these, you know, concepts that go on, and we still hold our club levels together, I really can't see it being a bad thing. I think it's, you're pulling the strength from everywhere, and the people who want to support the game will come. Yeah,
well, that's a good argument, Cameron. A good argument, isn't it? You know, and I can see exactly where you're coming from. And as I said, the individual competitions that we've seen so far that have been picked, the teams have been picked by individuals, have been a real success. So your argument's a good argument, and there's a lot of merit to it. And I support a lot of what you say. I thought the best thing you said there was limited events. I think that encompasses what we talk about, is the fact that you said a limited events. Well, provided we keep a limit on them and don't let everybody decide we're going to do this, I think there's a future in it. And as I said, your argument there is a very good argument.
Do you think that Warwick could find 7 decent players to come down and have a crack?
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, no doubt about it. We're working towards it. Yeah, we're working towards it, Alex.
Yeah.
We're working towards it. It's just a matter of putting together, getting your club team. We're very club orientated here at Warwick, which I wouldn't have to tell you. Our aim is to go to a couple of these events with our club teams. Our aim is to try and go to the Silver Stirrup with 2 ladies teams, all out of the Warwick Club. At this stage, we have about 70 odd playing members, of which 50% of those are ladies. And there's some very good lady players in them, and we've got some very good male players. So yeah, it's not out of the question for us to have a team there, Alex.
One thing I was going to ask you, Les, too, and just off the back of what you've talked about with your lady players there, one thing we've copped a lot of criticism for initially when we were setting this up is that it's just a men's competition, no ladies involved. Our aim is, now that we've secured our grounds here at Inverell, our aim is to use the showground in the first year, because we just don't have the facilities at our grounds yet, and our club use the money that we make from doing the Swan Cup to improve infrastructure. And the long-term plan is we want to open it up so that we'd have a men's competition, a ladies competition, as well as having our incentives in the following years. Women are the lifeblood of our club. You know, if we don't have those things that have women playing, we'd completely drop off. So it's really good to hear that 50% of your club are women, because I could probably guarantee that not every club would be in a similar situation to you. So what's your thoughts on us just having it as a men's competition in our first year?
I think as the inaugural event, Alex, I think you're spot on. I think if you can get this first event off the ground and be successful, you can then expand and move into a ladies competition. We've got a very, very good ladies competition in Albury. Albury run the Silver Stirrup and the Bronze bit, and they've done a wonderful job with that. The Albury Holbrook Club, and obviously it's a great competition. Sometimes you might be better off saying, well, let's let Albury Holbrook run the women's competition and we'll run the men's. But no, I think criticism about not having the ladies there at this first event, Alex, is a bit unjustified at this stage. I think you have done a wonderful job to get this off the ground so far, and I certainly wouldn't, from your point of view, wouldn't be disappointed that you've only taken on the men's competition at this stage. I think that's a great idea, because you know that you can handle that and make a success out of that, and then you can expand your competition if you feel that you would like to do so.
Do you think, Les, we're getting the Swan Cup out there and promoted enough? Like, I know no one buys the newspapers anymore, and people are really reliant on Facebook and social media. Is there any other avenues that you've been down yourself that are worthwhile and trying to bring people in or bring outside people in?
Well, Cameron, the advertising landscape has changed so much in the last 20 years, hasn't it? And when we run the first World Cup in 2003, emails had only just invented.
Put a picture in the country life.
Yeah, it had only just been invented, emails, and we can't believe since 2003 to 2019 the big change in communications. It's what you've said is right. The social media thing now has changed completely, and people just pick up so much on social media. And I probably think from where we sit, and I'm a dinosaur basically involved with social media, but I think it's the way to go. I think you fellas are pretty well on cue, and the way to go. As I said, the advertising landscape has just changed so dramatically in the last 15 years.
Yeah, no, for sure. I find it hard to trying to explain our concept to someone that's not in our sport, and even someone in the camp drafting world, and good friends of mine, and they're saying, oh, where do I find it, or what do I do, and different things, So that's just a hurdle we're coming up with, and we're trying to get over. But I think word of mouth is as strong as it's ever been, and once the competitions get going, and we're playing our carnivals on a regular basis, and Russell Owen says he's coming down to the Swan Cup and he's bringing a side, and someone else says the same thing. And, it's, I think that'll be just as big a help as probably any sort of advertising we can come up with.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Cameron. We found at the 2019 World Cup, we introduced a whole new audience to the game. We just saw so many people at the World Cup that had never witnessed the game ever before in their life. The sport itself was unfortunate that we run into COVID in 2020, righto? So we weren't on our own there. There was a lot of other sports, but we really got a big following from the 2019 World Cup. And it was just a shame we couldn't hook onto those coattails in 2020 and continue the excitement that people had got out of that 2019 World Cup. But as I said, we weren't on our own there. There was a lot of sports suffered, and we're all trying to get back on track now.
Yes, with yourself, Les.
Do you like the idea, Les, that... Sorry, Alex, you go, mate.
Oh, I was just going to say, with yourself, Les, do you still breed a fair few horses every year?
Yeah, I don't breed a lot of horses, Alex. I only say that we only breed what we can ride. We usually join 2 mares a year. We have a few embryo foals, but the breeding thing on the Polocrosse has changed so dramatically, hasn't it? So when I first started to play the game, you drove around the district and saw a farmer that had a pretty handy old horse, and you said, mate, can I buy your horse? I'll try and play in Polocrosse. And that's how we got our Polocrosse horses. But today they're specifically bred to play the game, and it's proven how good the horses are. Like I don't have to tell you and Cameron, like I thought the horses we showcased at the World Cup, the 130 World Cup horses, plus the 22 interstate barrow-stock teams just showcased how good the Polocrosse horses are in Australia. And I continue to breed horses. I've played competition Polocrosse every year since 1962. Obviously, I never played last year because I did play, but I didn't play competition. But I've played competition every year since 1962, and in that time, I've had quite a few horses. They haven't all been good, but I have had some fair horses over the time. But yeah, we continue to breed horses and continue to ride them.
Would you have?
Do you think our sale? Do you think our sale, Les, is somewhere where people like yourself who's breeding a couple every year can aim one, and with that, do you think the value of the horses after what's going on with the Nutrien Classic and different sales around the place, how do we value a real top end polocrosse horse?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Cameron, isn't it? You know, I think firstly, to answer your first part of the question, yeah, I think your sale's a wonderful idea. We've got people now, like polocrosse has gone from a hobby sport. We've got people now that are professionals playing the sport, aren't we, and making a living out of the sport, whether it be shoeing horses, breeding horses, or carting horses, whatever it might be. We've got professionals following the sport, and I think it's another avenue for us to for them to pursue a professional interest in the sport. If your sale becomes a yearly event, if it becomes an annual event, our breeders will be able to work towards having a couple of horses, 1 or 2 horses at your sale every year, and we've got a lot of young people now following the game that would take up that challenge and be involved at that level, I think, anyway.
Yeah. And if you've got a horse that's playing at a nationals level, that's, you know, between 7 and 12-year-old and set horse going, you know, you got to keep him fit, you got to get him on the truck, you got to shoe him and feed him. How do we value what a top end polocrosse horse is making? I know Barragoon had a good sale down there. Like Hayden sold a horse down there for 48,000. You know, like, is that where it's heading, or do you still find a good polocrosse horse for 8 to 15?
Well, I think the top end of the horses, Cameron, is the one thing with the top end of the horses is you don't have a lot of the top end of the horses come on the market because they're so valuable and they're so well looked after and so liked. You don't see them come on the market all that often. But a polocrosse horse is worth what somebody's prepared to pay for him. And no doubt Hayden proved that at the sale at Holbrook. And you know, and I know to get paid for what it's, the time and effort you put into making a top polocrosse horse, the sky's the limit, isn't it? You know, but I think it's a wonderful thing to see these pleasure horses making money. And I think the further we go down the track, the more we'll see people that want to buy going well-educated horses that they can get on each weekend and go and play and have some fun on and enjoy the game. Like, to enjoy the game, you need to ride a good horse. I've always said that after you've played a game and you haven't played well, you go back to the bar and somebody says, gee, mate, you didn't play much good there. Your horse is over the truck munching his head off. He doesn't care whether you played well or not. But there's no better feeling, is there, to walk up to the bar or the canteen and some bloke say, by gee, mate, your horse played well out there. That's a good horse. Where did you get him from? You know, and it's all about our people enjoying the sport. And to enjoy the sport, you must have good horses. And we've got a lot of people now putting a lot of effort into making available good horses for people to play that probably haven't got the time nor the ability to train their horses.
Yeah, no, I agree totally, Les. I just I do think we're probably going to get a few of these top end horses to our sale that may never come on the market normally, especially in an auction system. So you know, just being interesting to see what some of these better horses can make, you know, in a place where they're playing a really high grade of polocrosse, and you know, and who gets them and where they end up, and you know, who breeds out of them and different things. You know, I think it just opens up massive avenues for everyone involved. But yeah, Les, I just really appreciate your help, mate, and talking to me in the background, and I really appreciate you coming on tonight and talking to us and Alex and the club, and yeah, thank you for your support.
Yeah, Cameron, to you and Alex, thank you very much for the invitation. And on behalf of the Warwick Club, we'd like to wish you fellas all the very best. We'll certainly support the Swan Cup, and we wish you all the very best. I think it's a wonderful initiative. And as I said, I'm excited to think that you've been able to attract Nutrien Equine. I think that's a great feather in your cap, and we need those global successful companies come on board and support our sport and get behind it. And you people have been successful in doing that, and I congratulate you for that. And certainly look forward to the Swan Cup.
Thanks so
I
much.
appreciate your words.
Thank you so much. So just a reminder before we go, the Swan Cup will run from the 8th to the 11th of July 2021, and our Open Men's Polocrosse and Sale nominations open on the 19th of April and close on the 10th of May 2021. Les Fraser, once again, thank you so much for your time, and thanks, Cameron.
Thank you,
Same,
Alex.
mate.
Thank you, Cameron.
So I can have a chop at you at the Inverell Swan Cup.